three IT related WCs. After that, if you want to leave, you may leave. It should not be a problem for me. Okay. So we're going to do three WCs in IT. Again, the reason I've picked up these are a little open-ended, and you might either have nothing to write on it or you might have a lot to write on it. So how do you cohesively form an answer? So I want somebody to take up the full question. Okay. So Caltech Inc. is discussing the data storage possibilities for its highly mobile workforce. Again, not a case-specific scenario. It's a general question. I know that now. Currently, data is stored on laptop hard drives and is not centrally available. So first thing I'm very clear is they're talking about centralized versus decentralized storage of data. That's number one thing. Management is concerned about data security. They have used the keyword here, the accessibility and the cost. Prepare a memo to management discussing various options for data storage for a highly mobile workforce, very clearly mentioning what is the advantage, what is the disadvantage, what is the cost. So if I look at the question, there are some keywords already given to them. Okay, the call of the question. Can anybody tell me in one word, if I have to ask you to choose one phrase, what is the WC all about? One phrase. What is the WC all about? Yes? Cloud storage. Very good. So it's about data storage and the solution is cloud storage, right? And you have to take a stand. You cannot come up and say that, see, you can continue with this. This is also an option. No, you're going to come up and say that the only option right now that I can see is cloud storage. Now tell me, how are you going to organize the answer? How are you going to organize the answer? What is going to be your first para? So there's going to be an opening line. There's going to be an intro. There's going to be a body, conclusion, closing line. This is the format of the answer. Okay. Now quickly tell me, what are you going to write about in the intro? So I'm going to discuss these. What is body? Just tell me the breakup of the body and the conclusion. Intro is just a synopsis of that, right? What are you going to write in the body? I want somebody to raise hand and take this question. Tell me the keywords also, okay? What are you going to write in the body? Yes. Alright, guys, please be interactive. Otherwise, you've lost me in this session. I'll just finish it off. Nafia. Nafia, would you want to unmute? Take the question fast. Sticking to the current model. Okay, very good. Then you intro cloud storage. Option available. Okay, Nafia, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? Nafia, can you unmute yourself? So what she's asking is this. What she's suggesting is we write this. Yes, Nafia. Yeah, tell me, how are you going to frame your answer? Intro.
Yeah. So the opening line we could put about the disadvantage or basically staying on the current model which the company is adapting, and then later.
Listen here first. Opening line will not be anything. Opening line will just be to the people whom you are addressing. Opening line will, so it's not the intro, it's the opening line. So once look at the format. Have they already mentioned to the board? If they have written to the management, you will write nothing. Else you will write, so you're talking about the intro. Okay, so your intro is what? Tell me.
The intro would be like, what would be the disadvantage if we continue to use the same data storage, and then we will move on to talk about the.
Tell me the keywords in the intro. You're correct. What you're saying is correct. But what are the keywords that you're going to use in the intro? The keywords will be centralized, decentralized, and the fact that you have a highly mobile workforce. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So we're going to give you solutions for this. Okay. Then comes the body. What will be the body?
Yeah, the body could be the, cloud storage. What is
talk about? Okay, so you're going to talk about cloud storage. Okay.
Cloud storage. Yeah, and then we could say about the options for data storage, the cost, the benefits available.
Wait. When you say options, what are you going to write in options? What are you going to write in options? Okay, see, I mean, you're correct. I don't want to discourage you. I'm just going to extend that thought further. So see, what you're going to talk about is three. They've already told you what are my key concerns. My key concerns is security, accessibility, and cost. So you want to talk about security? Yes, it is better than centralized than a decentralized storage. Accessibility, definitely better. Cost, definitely cheaper, probably. Maybe the cost is higher, you don't know. So how are you going to write it? No, see, all you do, you're telling me are points, guys. You have to first organize your points. How would it help fixing data storage problems for a high? Yes, you're correct, Anita. That is correct. But you now tell me what are you going to write in the points? Yes, Swati. Mobile workforce means my office. Like if Pixelon wants to hire people, I can have somebody in California, somebody in Calcutta, somebody in Bangalore who are in my payroll. And till now, the company had their individual laptop, which probably the company was giving. Now they're asking that, there's a problem that laptop is with them. So first you have to tell them what can be the problems. So the problem is, there can be leakage of data. The data cannot be in one place. People cannot access the data and all of that. Then you tell them now, see, the better part is to go for cloud storage or don't go that specific, right? So if I talk about cloud storage, what are you going to mention? See, Bhavna, encryption, access controls, no. But again, these are very specific things, Bhavna. Think about global stuff. Think about global stuff. Think about universal access. That's number one. Everybody can access it from the same system. So you have to talk about what are the plus points of cloud storage. In conclusion, you've got to write about the negatives of cloud storage. Yes, I am promoting cloud storage, but a mind should be attentive of these are the negatives of the cloud storage. So the positives, you have to mention with security, how it is going to enhance your security. Backup, very good. Backup, accessibility, use the keywords. Yes, backup, accessibility, centralized data storage, security, yes, cost, less cost as you pay. So these are the key terms that you're going to write in the benefits. Tell me, what are the flip side of cloud storage? What are the flip side of cloud storage? Yes, so most of you have been correct in mentioning the plus points. Remote accessibility. Rahul, what do you mean by saying increased cost due to redundancy? Tell me.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm speaking is that redundancy is maintaining a parallel system for your IT system. So basically, what happens is for the process of business BPR, basically, I mean, just to maintain business continuity planning, you have to maintain a system for which you need to plan for a redundant system, so that when your cloud system A, but which is your normal system that you are using, it goes down, there has to be a synchronous backup of the redundant system, which takes care of the no data loss when the workforce is on ground.
Rahul, cut yourself. Wait. First, you tell me you're going to write that one of the disadvantages of cloud storage is increased cost because of the need for a parallel database. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, you have to do that.
So, okay. But that you're going to do even now, isn't it?
No, you're not doing it now, because as per the system, you are maintaining a local backup.
Not centrally available. Okay. So you can write an increased cost due to the necessity for a business continuity planning. What else? What can be the other negatives of a cloud-based system, guys? Very good. We're depending on a third party. So, but extend it further, Swati. You're depending, but for what? What will be the disadvantage? Data breach, guys. Confidentiality. The data is not in your server. The data is on the server which belongs to somebody else. So there will be a risk of data loss. Yes, vulnerability to hack. Complete system down. If there's something wrong at the guy's place who is maintaining that server, everything will come down for you. So how do you ensure accessibility? So the keywords here would be accessibility. As I told you, access. How are you going to ensure? So continued business continuity, as somebody said. Dependence on, so don't stop at just the dependence. Dependence will lead to what risk? Conclude with those risks. Is that clear? Internet connectivity, Aditi, is a very myopic thing. Anyways, you need internet connectivity, frankly. So that I would not say is one of the plus or a minus of this thing. Okay, let's see what is the answer that they've given. So this is what is meant by opening line. Laugh here. Did you understand what I'm saying? Opening
Yes,
line
ma'am.
is intro. Opening line is whom are you addressing it to? And mostly in most WCs, the format in the question itself will give this to you. But if they don't, then you will have to adopt the format. Depending on what they're asking, a letter or a memo, what they're asking, depending on that, you will address this. Now, we are not putting around the bush. Intro will, so you were correct. Intro will directly talk about the problems of the current system. Then we spoke about the benefits of the new system, centralizing the database, what are the advantages. I would suggest having another para saying that, okay, these are the plus points, but we have to be mindful about these are the minus points. And a conclusion, but overall, I feel this will still make sense, which they said, right? And then the closing. Is this clear? Everybody? Okay, now we look at the next question. Okay, I call it a star question because this is a question where we know so much to write. I think I made a mistake. No, this is not that question. Okay, so this is one of the questions where I think I have so much to write that I don't know how to frame my answer to bring it to to not go overboard, to not go verbose. So how do I do that? See, Esther has started a successful pet lodging, grooming, care, and entertainment for dog walking business called Dogs and Us. Many of our transactions are executed by credit card at her website. A customer of Esther's recently expressed concerns regarding entering credit card information into Esther's website. Esther has called you to ask about the possibility of providing her with a more secure credit card processing system. More specifically, she's recently read an article about encryption and asks your opinion of its value to her business. Explain what system risk it may help her address. So it's very clear that they're asking you what is the risk that we're trying to cover through it. So the key word is encryption. They've spoken about the risks. And they've also spoken about symmetric versus asymmetric encryption. And the implications to Esther for implementing either type of encryption at a website. So typically you are a consultant. There is a client who has come up saying that this is my website and people have been paying through my website and I'm concerned about their confidentiality of data. So you tell me if I want to address this problem as an IT consultant. I don't know anything about encryption, symmetric, asymmetric. Tell me all. Obviously, you're going to take a stand saying which encryption is better for her and why. Okay, so this is a very simple question. How are you going to frame it? What are you going to write exactly? Tell me that. Yes? What are you going to write exactly? Tell me that. Yes, guys? Okay. Swati, that's a technical topic, okay? Are you sitting for your BC exam anytime soon? Because I would expect you to know this if you're sitting. Or is this, I mean, I don't know how is it placed. The current payment process, what we need. Now, Rahul, it's very global. Mere ko just bolo in your body how you're going to divide it into paras. So you start with so you'll not beat around the bush, you will immediately start with encryption. So we are going to talk about encryption and you'll define in very simple terms what is encryption, which is I convert a plain text to a ciphertext and the recipient of the data will again convert a ciphertext to a plain text. Swati, for your purposes, the way I try to explain encryption is very easy. Let's say I want to send HELP to somebody who receives my message. And I don't want the sender to know what is this message. So this is what is called as plain text. And I don't want my sender to know what this message was. So I simply do what? Instead of H, I'll write the next alphabet. So I, F, M, P, and the one. Okay, so this becomes the message. So the person who receives the message should exactly know what code you use and convert it into help. Like that, I'm transferring the data. This process is called encryption. I convert a plain text to a ciphertext. the recipient again takes it and converts it into a plain text. So this is encryption. Okay. Yeah, don't spend a lot of time. You've got to write a lot in this section, right? So what is encryption? We did it. Then you have to straight away start about symmetric versus asymmetric information. And can you imagine, you've got to write it in words, symmetric and asymmetric encryption. What is asymmetric? What is symmetric? And in a very lucid language, you have to talk about symmetric as you have only one set of keys, which is the public key. Asymmetric is you have two sets of keys, which are issued by a authority. Okay, symmetric is, okay, that's a technical term, Swati. Symmetric means that I have only one set of key. So it's like saying I write help and then I write the way how to decode it, and then I send the IFM that also, and I also send the trick of uncovering it, and I send both to the recipient. The recipient takes a public key, the recipient takes a message, unlocks it, and it becomes open to them. Asymmetric is you have two sets of keys, public and private. The public I'm using to lock, the private the other party is using to unlock. Okay, so how are you going to get that, and how are you going to ensure that? So which encryption are you going to prefer? So I'm going to talk about what is encryption, what is symmetric versus asymmetric encryption. Then I'm going to let her know which encryption is better. Always asymmetric encryption, because in that case the system does not allow you to send the trick or the reasoning also within it. So you will always say, I will support asymmetric encryption. But always remember, the guy does not know what is symmetric, asymmetric. So you've got to tell her that in a very plain language. That, see, in your case, you just need to do one thing, apply it to the authority. He will give you a set of key, use only your key to lock, and the other person will use the private key to open. And in the end, the closing line. Is this clear? So this is a technical question, typically a very straight question. But when you do encryption, I want you to do it in a way that this all becomes, you'll be able to express yourself in proper words. What is asymmetric? What is symmetric? Not just the diagram, because you can't draw the diagram here now. Okay, I'm reading the answer to you. It's a big answer. And I know you cannot write everything, but I want you to talk about it. First, you talk about encryption. Then you talk about the relevance of encryption. It helps you keep your things private. It protects your data from unauthorized access. These are the two main important things: confidentiality and unauthorized access prevention. Then in very simple words, you want to write about what is symmetric encryption. You use only one set of key, and the algorithm is also sent to the other party. Please use the term one set of public key. I want the terms one set and public key. In asymmetric information, it will be great to have the terms public, private key pair, how the thing works, and the fact that you have to take it out from the authority. All the three things have to come in there. Okay. Then you've got to talk about what is better for you. So comparison. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And then, so the best alternative, you have to reach a conclusion. Two is go on encryption, depending on what costs will be involved at your level. So now see, this is the first level inquiry by a client. Okay. So even though you want to emphasize asymmetric encryption, you're going to leave it open to the other party. Let's see, this is the cost. This is the process. I would prefer this in your business, but let us know what is it that you want to go ahead with. We'll help you more on this, and keep the option open, have a closing line. Is this clear? So when you do encryption next time, I want you to pay a little bit more attention and see how you can cohesively form answers to reflect this. Is this clear? Anybody, any questions? Anybody, any questions? How many people are overwhelmed now? ये सब करना पड़ेगा IT में. करना पड़ेगा. You have to do it. Okay. Remember, this is the last and the first and the last time. Okay. And don't, when you think and it depresses you that you've got to do this, imagine that next year there is a new syllabus coming in and nobody has an idea of how much IT will be in that syllabus, because they are saying that irrespective of what you take, forget about the IT specialized paper. In every paper, the role of IT will enhance. So imagine what you're doing now compared to what you would be doing if you don't do it now. It will sound less daunting, but you have to do it with that level of preparation, guys. I'm not mincing words. Okay. Okay. This is the last sim in IT. Okay. How does it go? Look at this. Again, this is a typical sim when you look at it and you're like, oh God, I don't want to write this. I know it happens. And that is the problem that you have got to encounter. Okay. The Cake for All Seasons is a company that manufactures cupcakes, wedding cakes, and all kind of cakes that you can think about. Okay. Now, what they're doing is they're offering these baked desserts that are delivered through grocery stores, caterers, and restaurants. So typically, my business model is B2B. I am making cakes and I'm supplying it to another segment in a B2B model. I'm not selling directly to the customers. Understand that. The company has recently begun a complex IT project built around an ERP system. So the company is, so whichever visual you want to have, in my opinion, I'm going to think about a situation where a small company is now trying to implement SAP to replace accounting, customer relations, supply chain management, and inventory control systems. So I have these discrete systems which I'm going to replace with a ERP. Although the system is built around SAP, management decided to customize many of the SAP modules to ensure a better fit with existing organizational process. So when I wanted to implement ERP, I went with SAP, but I asked my IT providers and the SAP team to help me customize the module according to my requirements. Unfortunately, now here's the problem. The implementation is not going well. Implemented modules after initial testing are evidencing difficulties, including transactions failing to execute, data errors emerging in enterprise-wide databases. So I am trying to discontinue the current modules. The new modules are nowhere near perfection. I cannot reach a stage when I come up and say, okay, we are not going to go by this. We have not even reached the test run stage. Everywhere there's just problems and problems throwing up. You are supposed to write a memo to whom? To the head of the IT steering committee. So imagine there's somebody who's sitting as a committee head that considers the major role. So first of all, this guy wants to know who is the culprit in this session. So what is the role of each of the following in resolving the above issues? The IT steering committee, mera kya kaam hai? The lead system analyst. He is the guy who's responsible for implementing the ERP. Uska kya kaam hai? And the applications programmer. He is the guy who's actually doing the Adobe work. Who is at fault? And of course, the end user. So they have given me name of 4 parties. The committee, who is the head, the lead system analyst, it is his job to analyze the requirements of the data and then to steer it, right? This stage has been done or not this stage. So he is the guy who's again in the managerial positions handling stuff. Then is the application programmer. These are the people who are actually participating and executing it, right? So these are the ground level footmen. And then they're the end users. These are the people who are giving you the feedback. This is working. So I mean, I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but when I think of this, I think of the company or, one of my articleship days, I think of a company where this would be there. I think of all those clerks who are going to use this system and all those problems. And, in Calcutta, we have this thing, Habena, Cholbena, something like that happening. Everybody is unhappy. And these are the set of people who said, see, I told you this is not going to work. This is going to be a disaster. So this is happening. Also consider what processes within the system's development life cycle may have led to such failures. Now, see, first of all, when you read it, you feel as if it has no sense. But now you understand what they're asking. They're asking whose fault is it? And they're trying to ask you, where did we go wrong? Was it in the initial stage? Did we define the wrong ask? Was it in the implementation stage? Which stage are we making a mistake? Are you clear about it? So you want to tell me the 4 roles and the stages of the life cycle. And as an IT consultant, I want your view on what do you think might have been the problem. So how should I approach the problem? That's what they're asking you. What is the role of this? How should I approach the problem? So it's a very gray area question. How many of you feels completely overwhelmed with this question? क्या लिखना है नहीं पता. How many of you? One second. Anybody in that zone? Raise your hand. I don't know what to write. Oh, completely. Rahul, it is your key strength. Okay, so you've got to play by it. Yes, exactly. No, you don't have to write only the role. You have to write the role in terms of ERP implementation. That is the boundary of the question. You have to tell me the role, and you have to tell me the role in the pretext of only the ERP implementation. Okay. Wait, I'm not asking you to write this answer. I'm going to give you this answer. Okay. But the reason I'm asking you this is to help you understand that when you're going through the theory, in your mind, you should be able to know how to read the theory so that you can form an answer like this. Okay. So see, these kind of questions, which are very data heavy questions, go straight to the topic. Don't beat around the bush. Very simply, the intro will have only two things. I'm going to address the role of these three people, these four people, and I'm going to tell you which stage of the life cycle there was an issue. So I want to talk about the four different processes. So the IT steering committee, the job is to know which IT project to prioritize. So it is the IT steering committee's job to have picked up the ERP and to tell them which ERP, whether we should have customized or not. This is the job of the IT steering committee. So their job would depend upon how they define the role of the project to different people. Hence, it is not clear from the case what is the role of the IT steering committee. See, the IT steering committee bears primary responsibility for approving and prioritizing the IT projects. Their responsibility in relation to implementation failures would depend upon how their role was defined. So ideally, an implementation failure will not be there, baby. So we want to go next. Their task would have been, should we go for ERP? If yes, what should be the format of the ERP implementation? So ideally, we don't know where they have gone wrong here. Then we go to the lead system analyst. He's the guy who's responsible for developing. Now, see, this is a very, very technical question, guys. Okay. It's a very technical question. You cannot write a generalized answer. Remember that. He is the guy who's responsible for developing an overall programming logic and functionality. If the system may be a failure at this stage, ultimately he is the guy whose collar has to be caught because he is the guy who's managing the show. So what you should do, you should first interview him regarding what was the problem. So he is the main guy. Catch hold of him and ask him what according to him was the problem in the system. That's the first thing. Now, can you see the answer is given in a very straight? We are not trying to be here and there. We're trying to be very, very focused. You ask me what is the problem, I'm telling you how you should be approaching the problem. Given that considerable customization is occurring in the implementation, pinpointing the causes of these failures will be a critical diagnostic activity. Hence, understand what the application programmers have to say. So lead manager to know where is he going wrong on a broader level. Then you go to applications programmers and ask them, boss, problem ho kahan hai? Is it because the licensing is bad, the ask is wrong? What is the problem that is happening particularly to this customized programming thing? Then you go to the end users to know. Now these are all these clerks who are chatting. Ye galat hai, wo galat hai, not that. When, why, how, what is the additional critical diagnosis? And they will be more than happy to give you all the feedback. Okay, then you interview these end users. And then comes the implementation stage. You have to understand, see, implementation is not a success, okay, but try and understand where you went wrong. Is it the feasibility? Is it that there is a system mismatch? Is it that your designing was incorrect from the very beginning? Is it that the development was wrong? The infrastructure, the IT, the people that you put were they wrong? Or was it a failure at the testing stage or the implementation stage? So this is actually the theory of your systems development life cycle. You are just customizing it for this particular topic. Okay, is this clear? Is the approach clear? Everybody. This is again a very open-ended thing that can catch you off guard. But if your theory is very sound, slowly try to build up your answer. Okay, so the main thing in a question like this, which is a customized question, but the main thing is to understand whose shoes you are in. If you can understand that, you've solved this question.